Hello, everybody, and welcome into Blue Jays Today, where you boys always have something to say about the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog.
And I'm your host, Adam Peddle, and today, guys, this is what we feared about Max Scherzer when we initially signed him to the Toronto Blue Jays. Spoiler, he's hurt yet again. Now, we're going to break down his injury and kind of just the details of it. How serious is this injury? And if he does miss opening day and beginning of the season, who's going to fill and replace him in that rotation? And what does that look like for the rest of the bullpen? Before we get into it, though, guys, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Blue Jays Today. So here we are, March 18th, and we already have an injury to Max Scherzer. Now, I can say this for certain. When we first signed him, yes, we were very excited, but I think we all knew that an injury was most likely going to happen at some point. It just sucks that it happens this early when we kind of were hoping that Max Scherzer would give us a big jolt to the beginning of the season.
Yeah, man, and it's something that honestly, shouldn't be surprising at all to the Toronto Blue Jays training staff, the management, the guys that signed him, everybody, because apparently this is something that he has been dealing with now for several seasons. Flashing over here, folks, it's all got to do with the thumb. And of course, it is the thumb on his throwing hand.
Of course.
Yeah, couldn't happen to be on the other hand.
No, the other hand, it's fine.
Other hand, it is
when
it
I
is
catch
totally
the ball
fine.
back, it hurts a little bit when it bends backwards. That's fine.
But this is something that he said that he has been dealing with, a variation at least of this for the last 2 seasons. And as we know, the last couple of years, that he has not really been on the field a whole lot. He puts it very bluntly where he says, what was it? My thumb hurts. It just hurts to grip the ball. That is not something that you want to hear from the guy that you just signed here to help fill in innings and to stop you from having to throw in Yariel Rodriguez or Ryan Yarbrough or whomsoever it's going to be into the fire. It hurts to grip the ball. Not a good look right now for Max Scherzer. So, I mean, to your point, I mean, it sucks that it's happening this early. But honestly, I'm not that surprised.
I'm not that surprised, but what the Blue Jays got to do now is they got to manage it properly, because he goes on to say right here, he's done everything. He's done grip strength workouts to try and address the issue, but the problem is it keeps flaring up at the exact kind of 50 pitch mark. That's what he's telling us. So if you know that Max Scherzer's having problems and he's flaring up at the 50 pitch mark, okay, well, how do you go about managing that? Do you put a pitch limit on Max Scherzer, the guy that you signed for $14.5 million? Because it's better to have a 50 pitch a game Max Scherzer than a 0 pitch Max Scherzer and have his replacement come up and pitch for him. So obviously that's been an issue. And also the problem is, if you push him and go past his limits and push him through the injury, well, Max Scherzer's biggest fear is that it's going to cause some shoulder issues.
Yeah.
So you don't want it to lead this finger issue to a shoulder issue, because we know that. I mean, I don't need to be a doctor to know this, or a physiotherapist to know that as soon as you start overcompensating one part of your mechanics, you start to hurt another part of your muscles in your body, and that would lead to a shoulder injury.
Everything's connected, man.
Everything's connected. So the point I'm trying to say here is, what are the Blue Jays going to have to do to try and compensate and fix this issue? Where can you see the Blue Jays kind of solving this?
I'll tell you right now, add more pitching. Honestly, that is the best way to solve this. Max Scherzer, for a lot of guys, right, you can say, okay, you know what, put them on the IL, give them a month or two, they'll be okay. This is something that he's been dealing with for the past 2 years. This is not going away, right? Even if he goes on the injured list for a little while, then comes back, it's going to flare up again, right? He's seen the specialists. He's done all this. It's now about a management thing, right? And I truly believe, it's going to come down to a lot of load management, like you're saying. Maybe you have to use him as more of an opener, and, which is not something I think anybody wants to hear, but, let's face it, you want to get your money's worth, and it's better that than him being on the IL. Maybe it's got to be a 6-man rotation, because he was talking about how after the fact it's all about the recovery, right? He was saying it's I don't necessarily feel it in the moment, but then when I get off the field the next day, obviously my thumb fucking hurts, right? So maybe it's about a 6-man rotation. Honestly, I think what I'm getting from this right now is the fact that the Toronto Blue Jays are going to need to weather this storm of a season without depending on Max Scherzer. And that sucks because, in a ceiling of outcomes, right? Oh, Max Scherzer gets back to what he was doing. He pitches 150 innings and, it's all hunky-dory. That's not going to happen, guys. I'm looking at this right now. The fact that this is recurring, the fact that this has been something that's been going on for years, he is going to be hurt throughout this entire season in, varying degrees. We got to find some other ways to, to manage him and then to manage the rest of the staff.
Yeah, like I'll jumping off those two kind of points right there where you're saying where, maybe you do a piggyback kind of opener role. I mean, well, if that in that like a situation, okay, maybe you could do a Yariel Rodriguez or a Ryan Yarbrough. However, I also like the idea of using a 6-man rotation because when we got him initially, the whole idea was like maybe the Blue Jays do turn into a 6-man rotation because you got Bassett, you got Gausman, you got Barrios, you got guys who are older and they might need an extra day of rest, especially Max Scherzer's. But if you do a 6-man rotation, okay, well, there's Yariel Rodriguez. He slots into that rotation,
sure.
Right? So then who's the guy picking and backing off of Max Scherzer? And it all goes back to the first thing you said, which is the Blue Jays just need more pitching.
Need more pitching, right? Really. Like, that's the best way to tackle this.
They just need more pitching. However, we're at that point now where we're literally 9 days away of recording this video that that's opening day. Is there any pitchers out there? Yeah. No, probably not that we can go slide into the rotation. But looking internally, everybody, the only pitching options we have beyond Yariel Rodriguez is Jake Bloss. Jake Bloss, and you're looking at a Ryan Yarbrough potentially going and making the team, right? So that's it. And Jake Bloss, even this spring, hasn't really looked that spectacular. He had a great spring training breakout game. I think he was named on the first team, like spring training MLB breakout.
Okay,
which is cool. Respect against the other kind of rookies, but we got to have you go up and face major league pitching. So you can already see right here, like, even if we did do that sort of adjustment as a management, we're still finding ourselves in some really hot water, and it's not going to be easy to manage.
Yeah, just flashing over here to the, just to showcase to everybody what we're looking at right now. You're going to have Barrios, Gausman, Bassett, and then it's, we're hoping Scherzer, maybe, right? But also maybe not. I just, now I'm looking at his slot right now. It's just a big question mark. It's like, maybe he's there.
He could start it.
Totally, yeah.
The year on the IR. Yeah.
Absolutely he could, right? And then even if he isn't on the IR, well, then, what is it? 3-4 innings of work, and then we're taking you out, and then
basically
you get...
on the IR.
You know what I mean? It's like, I have no idea what to expect from you. And then, of course, you got Bowden Francis. Like, all of a sudden, the rotation to me is like now pretty questionable because, again, you were already hoping for a bounce back from Chris Bass, and you were hoping from a continued breakout for Bowden Francis. Now you're going to be asking those guys for that much more. And you just had Alek Manoah hit the 60 DIL. Which we expected. But, he's not, like, reinforcements from him are not going to come for months of time at the, so I don't know how you tackle this. Like, I think it's gonna have to be internally at this point of the quote unquote off season.
I know.
But it really just does come down to the fact, like, you can't rely now on Max Scherzer, and we're gonna need more pitchers to come and hopefully break out to weather 162 games.
You're gonna need, honestly, Bowden Francis to be Bowden Francis of the second half of last year. This spring so far, he hasn't really gotten off to a great start. I mean, again, it's spring training. We say that about everything good and bad, though. You still gotta take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
10 innings pitched, and he's got 12 earned runs to his name. So obviously that doesn't look super, super good. But you need him to, like, start the season against some pretty tough competition, being the vintage, Bowden Francis that we saw right out of the gate. And then I'm looking at the bullpen here too, folks. Like, look at the bullpen without Eric Swanson in it. And we're asking a lot from these guys now, especially these middle to lower guys with no Max Scherzer in that rotation. Let's say if he starts the year on the IR, you move Yariel Rodriguez over there. I think the obvious decision would then to bring up Ryan Yarbrough and put him there in the long relief role. But looking at the guys who would have to go and fill in the next, bullpen days or like innings, because you also got to know that Yariel Rodriguez isn't going to give you too many innings, right? Because he's been struggling as well, and he didn't do a lot last year. So you'll have Ryan Yarbrough, Tommy Nance, Richard Lovelady, Zach Pop, and Nick Sandlin, the bottom 5 of your bullpen. That scares me a lot. And for me, honestly, that starts to feel like, when we were looking at this rotation before, like, oh, we have a chance to win any given day, any given start with this healthy rotation. Now I'm looking at that 5th start as potentially, that's almost an automatic L. Hey guys, time for a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video. Hit your picks and knock it out of the park with Betway. Scan the QR code down below or click the link in the description to join the action. Available in Ontario only, must be 19 years older to participate. And guys, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content.
Sure, yeah, and it's a ripple effect too, right? Because, okay, well, let's say he is healthy, but you only get 4 innings out of the guy. Well, now you got 6 innings or 5 innings, excuse me, that the bullpen needs to make up. And then the following day, when it is Bowden Francis going up against somebody, and maybe he doesn't have his best stuff, and you need the bullpen, you don't have the bullpen, and it just snowballs and snowballs and snowballs, and before you know it, you're 10 games below 500. It's the fucking trade deadline. So honestly, folks, this is scary to me because it is happening right now, and because we know that this Toronto Blue Jays team needs to get off to a hot start. I think what needs to happen here is you're going to need to see the veterans on this staff, and including Bowden Francis too. They are really going to need to be on their A game to start things off. And if Scherzer isn't healthy, or even if he is, but they have some pitch limit on something, they need to be doing their part to then take the pressure off the bullpen, so then the bullpen can, be utilized more on that Max Scherzer day or on that odd day where somebody doesn't have it, right? Because if let's say we get into the season and Bassett doesn't look good, and there's the occasional bad start from Gausman, the bullpen won't be able to hold up, and like I said, it's just going to continue to snowball.
It is going to continue to snowball. Also, a little shout out to the offense too, guys. Now we're asking you to wake up with that.
I mean, if you score 10 runs a game, it's fine.
If David Popkins' effects is real, let's go. Then we don't have to worry about that, and Max Scherzer will be back and fine. But guys, do let us know in the comments down below. What do you think about the Max Scherzer situation? How should the Blue Jays management to begin this season? We want to know your thoughts down there.
Yeah, please hit that like, smash the subscribe button, folks. $4 to become a YouTube member. I didn't think it all of our current YouTube members. You guys are amazing. Also, March 27th, opening day, everybody. We are going to be at Amsterdam Brewhouse. You should also be at Amsterdam Brewhouse. It is free to show up. The link is in the description to get your tickets.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching.
And as always,
go Jays, go!